Hi everyone, today I'm presenting my favorite poem from our anthology. It's called O Motherland, Dear Motherland, and it's by a Chinese poet Shu Ting. The old broken water wheel beside your river has composed a centuries-old song of weariness. I'm the smoke-smudged miner's lamp on your forehead that lets your snail crawl through the cave of history. I'm the withered rice ear, the washed-out roadbed, the barge marred in a silk shawl as the tow rope cuts deeply into your shoulder. O motherland, I am poverty, I am sorrow, and the bitter, painful hope of your generations. I'm the flowers strewn from Apsara's flowing sleeves that after thousands of years still have not reached earth. O motherland, I'm your untarnished ideal just broken away from the cobweb of myths. I am a bud of the ancient lotus blanketed under your snow. I'm your smiling dimple wet with tears, your newly drawn lime-white starting line. I'm the scarlet dawn emerging with long shimmering rays. O motherland, I am numbered among your billions, the sum of your 9 million square kilometers. You, with a scar-blemished breast, have nurtured me the confused, the ponderer, the seething, so that from a body of flesh and blood you might eke out your prosperity, your glory, and your freedom. O motherland, my dear motherland. So as you can see, it's a really, really beautiful poem, and it's actually meaningful for me. Although I'm not from China, I'm actually from Russia, I still love my motherland despite its flaws, but as a whole it has its own charm that I just can't resist. So I moved here in 2010, and that's when I actually realized how much I loved it and how much I was proud of my origins. And when I went to school, people were curious about the place I come from, so they asked questions. They were quite stereotypical, like, is it true that in Russia you only drink vodka? Or is it true that vodka is cheaper than water? And no. I was like, no. I was prepared for this kind of questions, but it was kind of not nice. So I gave myself a promise that I will kind of change people's perception of my country, tell them the truth, not what media shows as like if you were savage and alcoholic and wild. I don't know. So I gave my promise to let my country eke out for me its prosperity, its glory, and its freedom. And that's when I felt better, because my country is beautiful. I mean, all this history and culture, literature and music, like some people know about it, but not everybody. And what everybody knows is just negative sides, and it's not. I mean, it's not nice to know. For example, if you say someone, "Oh, I come from England," everybody's like, "Oh, this is cool." But if you say to someone like, "Oh, I come from Russia," they would be like, "Oh, did you flee from there?" No, I didn't. I just moved here. And I mean, Russia is a beautiful country. It has a big history. And actually there's two verses actually. You with a scar-blemished breast have nurtured me. It reminds me of Russia because just take this 20th century, for example, the Second World War. Russia lost over 25 million people. And I think it's a pretty big scar. So I just want people to know that Russia is a beautiful country, and you should not think of it as bad and lost, but just give it a chance. Besides really beautiful personal meaning, it's actually a really good poem in its own, like on technical side, I'd say. It has a lot of imagery, and I really love that in poems. For example, water wheel beside your river, cave of history, flowers strewn from stars flowing sleeves, etc., etc. It has a lot of metaphors, cave of history, for example, and it kind of creates a really beautiful and interesting poem. It's actually a 3-verse poem, so it has no rhyme, but it's still harmonious because it has its own flow, its cadence, as we say in poetry, that kind of goes through all the poem. It has 4 stanzas. The second and third one have 7 verses, and the first one has 9, the last one has 10. But the last one, My Dear Motherland, I think it's kind of special. It's kind of like linking all of the stanzas together, like My Dear Motherland. And actually the last stanza, I see it as a promise that she gives to her country, saying that she will let her country eke out its prosperity, glory, and freedom. So people, love your country and be proud of who you are.